Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's the last day of January and I thought it would be the perfect time to do a little roundup or kind of a ranking video on all of the products that I tried throughout this month. I was doing these back in the spring and I do have a playlist of the few that I did, but then I kind of slacked off during the summer and fall, but a lot of you had asked me to please bring these back because you find them helpful. So if you do, let me know down below. Also give this video a thumbs up, and for anybody who is new to my channel, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here, and if you enjoy this video, I hope you will consider subscribing. So let's go ahead and jump in, and what I'm going to be doing is ranking everything in each specific category. So we'll start out with complexion products, and this is going to include foundations, primers, and concealers, kind of all in one. So let's start with the one that I liked the least, and that would be the Stila Tinted Moisturizer Balm. So this one I talked about in a splurge or save video where I was comparing high-end products to some cheaper alternatives, and this balm disappointed me so much. I was really hoping that it was going to be kind of like a tinted moisturizer in a compact. Unfortunately, it just had a really waxy feel and zero coverage. I just kind of felt like I was putting a waxy primer on my face. So this was a product I didn't get at all, and based on the negative reviews on the Ulta website, I feel like a lot of people felt the same way. Next up was the Tarte Sugar Rush Skin Treat, and this one I initially loved. I did a whole video on the different Tarte Sugar Rush products, and I thought I was going to love it at first. It smoothed out my skin. It felt like a primer with some coverage to it, but unfortunately towards the end of the day it just started to get so dry on my skin, and it just started to cling to dry patches and just make my skin overall look not so good. So I think this product would be great for somebody with more oily skin, but for me it was definitely a pass. The next product up from that was the Milani Skin Fresh Under Eye Brightener. So this also, I kind of didn't see the point in it. It basically has a light peach tint to the formula, but it really didn't seem to do much for my under eye area. It added a little bit of like a pearlized finish, which I guess could kind of distract from dark circles a little bit, but I didn't feel like it actually covered anything. It basically felt like kind of a shimmery eye cream going on, so I didn't really see the point in this one either. I have my Pixi under eye corrector in the peach shade that I think just works a whole lot better, so I was really disappointed in this one as well. So in the complexion category, those were the three that I was the most disappointed in, and now the next two are ones that I liked. I didn't totally love them, but I felt like they were pretty good. So the first one was the Milani Glow Hydrating Skin Tint, and this one I hated it at first because it feels very sticky going on, almost like you're rubbing Vaseline on your face. But once it's set down after about 20 minutes to a half an hour or so, and it didn't feel so sticky anymore, I actually noticed that my skin looked really good. It has a high level of squalane in the formula, which is really plumping for your skin and really hydrating, and I just loved the way my skin looked. I thought it had decent coverage, and my skin just looked really fresh and dewy and not dry at all. So I thought it was actually a really nice product for the winter time. I don't necessarily think I'll love it as much in the summer when it's really humid outside, but for the winter it was great. I do think though, if you have oily skin, you're probably going to want to stay away from that one. And next we have the Jason Wu It's So Soft Primer. I did a Target haul earlier this week and tested this one out, and this is basically the same as the NYX Soft Focus Primer that used to be on the market and was discontinued. And even though it kind of has a similar feel to the Tarte one that I tested out this month, for some reason this one doesn't look dry on my skin. Even after wearing it for most of the day, I felt like it still looked really good. It has that same kind of whipped primer-like texture with a little bit of coverage, actually more than a little bit. It actually had really decent coverage, almost up to medium, so I was able to just wear this primer by itself as a foundation, and I really loved how smoothing it was. It just kind of took care of all my pores and fine lines, and it just looked beautiful. It did have more of a soft matte finish, and usually in the winter when my skin is really dry, I like something a little bit more dewy, so I feel like this is going to be a great one heading into the spring and summer when my skin is more normal. Okay, so now the next three products are ones that I absolutely loved and would highly recommend. So the first one is the Milani Glass Skin Primer. This was from their Skin Fresh line, and I did a whole video on this one as well. And I loved this because it felt very similar to their skin tint, but because it's a primer, it's not the last thing I put on my face, and it didn't have that sticky feeling once I put a foundation on top of it. And it just kind of stays a little bit tacky on my skin, so it helps foundation to grip really nicely, and anything you put on top of it, it just kind of adds a little bit of a glow without sparkle. It's just a glow because your skin is so hydrated and dewy looking. So I just loved this, and I've really been enjoying wearing it almost every single day because it just adds that extra plumpness and level of hydration to my face that is just beautiful. Now, one thing I do want to mention is it does have a peach scent to it, so if you don't like scented face products, then you may want to stay away from this one. The next product I was super impressed with is the Wet n Wild Incognito Concealer. When I first tried this one, I was just blown away by not only the coverage, but how natural it sits on your skin. Sometimes full coverage concealers can just look so heavy and cakey, and this one is so lightweight, it's almost weightless. It reminds me a lot of the Catrice concealer that everybody talks about. That one is very similar to this. So if you already have the Catrice, then you probably know what I'm talking about with this, just how weightless it is. It sets down immediately, but yet somehow it doesn't look dry or cakey at all. And I just thought it did a great job at brightening up my under eye area and making everything look so covered and so perfect, but yet it doesn't look like I'm wearing concealer. So I think this one was a definite hit. And then the number one spot would have to be the Wet n Wild Bare Focus Tinted Hydrator. I am wearing that today, as well as the Incognito Concealer and the Milani Glass Skin Primer. So actually I'm wearing my top three favorites on my face today, and I've just been loving this combo. The Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator is such a beautiful tinted moisturizer. It actually has about medium coverage, I would say, so that aspect of it really surprised me. I was expecting it to be more sheer, and it just sets down so nicely to the perfect satin skin-like finish, and it is so long lasting. It holds up really, really well throughout the day, and I never noticed it breaking up on me, and by bedtime it still looked really good. So I was really, really impressed with Wet n Wild this month. Okay, so for the next category, let's talk about mascara. I tried 3 new ones this month, and at the bottom of the list was the Tarte Lash Smoothie Mascara with hemp, and I was disappointed in this one as well. I didn't think it really did much in the way of length and volume for my lashes, and this one also flaked on me and it smudged throughout the day as well, so I really wasn't a big fan of that one. Next we have Essence 24-Hour Bold Volume Mascara. I didn't think this one was horrible, but I typically love Essence's mascaras for just giving me lots of length and volume, and this one I felt like it gave me a little bit of something, but it was more of a natural looking mascara on me. It really didn't give me the length and the volume and the false lash look that I really love. So for me, this one was a bit of a letdown. I was really hoping to love it. So then in the number one spot, we have the Maybelline Sky High Mascara. This has really blown up. I know everybody's talking about it on TikTok and Instagram, and it is a really, really nice mascara. It gives me such good length, especially a little bit of volume, but definitely that really long, fluttery length, and I really, really love the results of it. I've been wearing it in almost every video, and I love how long lasting it is as well. It really stays put all day. This one is definitely one to check out. All right, so the next category is lip products, and I'm going to start again at the bottom. There was really only one that I didn't particularly care for this month, and it was more the color than the actual formula. That was the Buxom Full-On Lip Cream in the shade White Russian. I tried it on also in that Splurge or Save video where I was comparing the high-end to drugstore, and I didn't like the color on me. I felt like it just washed me out. It looked like kind of this milky light pink color. I have seen other people wear it, and I think it looks so flattering and so pretty on them, but on me, I just didn't like it. I know a lot of you guys said in the comments that you thought it looked good, but just to me, I kind of felt like it washed me out. So I wasn't a fan, but a few of you guys gave me some recommendations of different colors to try from that line, and I did really like how it smoothed out my lips. I'm not normally normally a fan of lip products that kind of tingle like that, but it was worth it to get that really smoothed out look. So I will be trying that one in different colors, but really that was the only lip product I didn't like this month. In the next category, I have 3 things that I liked a lot. I didn't necessarily love them or think that they're the best thing ever, but I liked them. So let's start out with the Milani Tinted Lip Balm in Cherry. So this one, I thought it was just a really nice tinted lip balm. There isn't too much to say about it. The cherry scent that it has is very reminiscent of like cherry candy, especially ones that I ate when I was a kid. So I did really like kind of the nostalgia of that flavor, and also it has a really pretty kind of light red tint. So I liked this one. I thought it was a nice lip balm. And also from that same collection, we had the Milani Peach Moisturizing Lip Tint, and this one is just a little tinted balm in a stick. And this had a really pretty light peach tint to it. I was wearing it during the video that I did when I talked about the Skin Fresh line from Milani, and I didn't think it was the most hydrating lip balm in the world. I felt like it was okay. I liked it more for the color than the actual formula. I didn't think it was super special, but it was hydrating enough. And then another gloss that I tried this month was from Pop Beauty. It was their Plump Pout Lip Gloss, and they just sent it to me in the clear version, but they do actually have other colors. And what I liked about this was another one that kind of slightly tingled on my lips, but it really smoothed out my lip lines, and it has like that peptide formula that's supposed to plump up your lips over time. And I just thought it was a really nice, affordable drugstore option for a lip product like that. I have a few, but they're mostly from high-end brands. And I just thought this formula was really nice, and it made my lips look nice as well. So thumbs up for that. And then when it comes to lip products, I absolutely loved this month. The first one I actually haven't shown in a video yet, but it's from the Natasha Denona Mini Love collection, and it's her lipstick in the shade Amorosa. And this lipstick is so beautiful. I actually hadn't tried her I Need a Nude lipstick line, but I've heard so many good things about it, and it has such a nice satin finish. It's not glossy, but it's also not matte. It just feels so super creamy on your lips, and again, it just looks very nice and smoothing, and I thought this color was beautiful. I was afraid that it was going to be a little bit too light and wash me out, but in the end, I thought it was just the perfect nude mauve color, and I would definitely get more shades in this line because I really love the formula as well. Another lip product I absolutely love this month were the Persona Season 1 lip glosses. Now this formula isn't new, they've been out for a long time. I just love the new colors that they came out with this month, particularly the shade Marrakesh. I thought it was absolutely stunning. And also in that video, I had talked about Persona's new lip liners as well. And these come in such beautiful nude shades. Again, just really wearable and easy. And the formula is so creamy and moisturizing that I can actually just get away with wearing these as a lipstick. I just line my lips and fill them in, and I'm good to go. So I thought these were beautiful as well. I feel like Persona never lets me down. Another lip product I loved this month was the Milani Avocado Butter Lip Mask. So this has almost the identical ingredients to the Rose Butter Lip Mask that I love, that I've talked about many times, and I just think this is such a beautiful night treatment. The only difference I saw in the ingredients is that the avocado one has avocado oil and the rose one has rose oil. Also, the avocado one doesn't smell like rose like that one. It smells kind of like a green sort of plant-like scent. So if you don't like rose scents and you prefer something maybe a little more herbal, then the avocado one might be a good choice for you. Then at number 2, we have the Persona e-balms. I just talked about these in my haul video this week as well, and I'm wearing one of them today, the shade Meditate, and I absolutely just fell in love with these lip balms. I know tinted lip balms are a dime a dozen these days, and everybody seems to have them, but this formula is particularly beautiful. They're a little bit more on the expensive side, but oh my gosh, they are so smoothing and so hydrating. They feel like a lip treatment versus just a tinted balm. So if I were to compare this to the Milani Peach Tinted Balm that I talked about a little further down on the list, there's no comparison formula-wise. I just think these feel so cushiony and plush and soft on your lips versus the Milani one, which was a little bit more thin and not quite as hydrating. So I love these, and I think all the colors they come in are absolutely beautiful too. And then at number 1, this was such a shock to me because I never thought I was gonna love it this much. It's the Tarte Best Bud Butter Lip Balm, and this little jar is magic. It actually has replaced my Milani lip masks that I was just talking about. Those are still amazing, they're still really good, but this one is just on another level, and the reviews on Ulta were actually what made me go ahead and purchase it, because I thought, you know, it just looks like a lip balm in kind of cutesy packaging, but I didn't really think it was going to be so amazing. And once I showed it in the video, so many of you guys in the comments told me how much you love it too, how it's been one of your most repurchased lip balms. Not only is it super thick and rich and hydrating and just the perfect lip balm, but it also has lactic acid to exfoliate your lips. So when I wear this to bed at night, I wake up in the morning and my lips actually look plumper and more full than they have in a really long time. I think just because of all the moisture content that's in them now. So I just noticed a really big difference, and I noticed that when I put lipstick on, like for a video or something, not that I'm wearing it much in my regular life, but when I put lipstick on for a video, I noticed that it looks a lot smoother and I don't have like that dry flaky skin on my lips that the lipstick clings to. Everything is just so smoothed out. So it's honestly become my new favorite lip balm. I never thought I would say that, but it's awesome. Okay, so moving on to blush, there were 2 that I wasn't too crazy about this month, and the first one is the Milani Supercharged Cheek Stick. So these are actually supposed to be like a lip and cheek stick kind of combo thing, and on the lips they're okay because they're super emollient, but on my cheeks I just felt like they were such a greasy mess, and they don't really layer on themselves too well because they're so sticky and they just don't dry down. So I really was not a fan of these, unfortunately. I also thought they kind of lifted up my foundation when I tried to put them on, so those were definitely a miss. And then the next one up from there is actually a formula that I love, but I just felt like the shades weren't really suited to my skin tone that well, and that was the new Milani Baked Blushes. They had a peach one and a cherry one, and both of them were so not only shimmery but also too pigmented, and I love Milani's baked blushes so much. I think Luminoso is gorgeous. There's a few others that are just, they've been staples and favorites of mine for so many years now, but these 2 new shades were just a little bit too much. Even just putting the brush into the powder as lightly as I possibly could still resulted in a ginormous blob of blush on my cheek that was so dark and so pigmented and hard to kind of blend out because it was just too much. So I think if you're somebody who doesn't have a really fair skin tone like I do, and you have more maybe like medium to deep, these will probably work out just fine for you. But for me, I just felt like they were just a little too deep. Alright, so then from here on up, I really did like everything. This was very hard to rank these last few, but at number 5, I have the NARS Air Matte Blush, and this blush is gorgeous. Don't get me wrong, I liked the formula of it. I thought the color was beautiful that I chose. I think it blended really well on my cheeks, and it dried down really fast, so it didn't disturb my foundation or anything. I thought the formula was gorgeous. I thought it was really nice all the way around. The only reason it's this low on the list is just because of the price. It was very expensive, I think around $30 for this little jar, and I just feel like there's so many cream blushes at the drugstore now that could easily compete with this that I don't feel like it's worth spending the money on it necessarily. But other than that, I thought the formula was beautiful. Next up, we have the new Natasha Denona Love Duo, and this has a beautiful cream blush on one side and highlighter on the other, and even though I don't wear highlighter all that much, I thought that this particular highlighter was so beautiful. It's more on the subtle side, so it doesn't have too much sparkle, it's not chunky, it just looks really, really smooth on the skin, and the blush is also gorgeous. It's this really happy color. It's like a pinky coral, and it just suited my skin tone so well. And again, I thought the formula was so great on it because it dries down immediately, like to a powder finish, and I just thought it was so nice. I didn't have to layer it. I thought it was nicely pigmented. So overall, I really have been enjoying this duo as well. And then moving on up the list, we have at number 3, the Tarte Beach Cheeks. I also talked about this one in my Sugar Rush video, and I really like this one too. It is a little bit more on the expensive side versus the drugstore ones. I think it was around 15 bucks, so it's not too bad. It's not nearly what the NARS one is, but I just love the color of this. Again, I thought the formula was very comparable to the ones at the drugstore. They have that nice powdery dry down, which I like, and I thought that this one was a little bit more unique because it had a little bit of dewiness to it. It didn't dry down completely to a matte finish, even though it felt like it was matte. It just had a little bit of shine to it, which I really liked a lot. And then at number 2, Milani had released some new colors of their Cheek Kiss cream blushes, which I already was a huge fan of, and I really loved these new colors. I thought they were so pretty. Even though the cherry one was a little bit deeper looking in the pan, it's very sheer when you put it on, so you can easily build it up if you have a deeper skin tone, or if you're like me, you could just do a sheer wash of color. And I just was so excited to see them come out with new colors because I love these so much. And then in the number 1 spot, we have Persona's Super Blush in the new shade Terracotta that they released in January. And this blush is one of my favorites. I'm wearing it today and I have just been enjoying it so much. It's just the most beautiful color that almost goes with everything because it's almost like a nude. So it's very, very versatile, and I just find myself reaching for it so often. Also because this formula is the best. It's so blendable, finely milled. It's perfect. I love it. All right, so next up we have eyeshadow palettes. This one is a bit of a bigger category. I had 13 palettes that I tried this month. So let's start down at the bottom with number 13, and that was the Pop Beauty Lightshow palette in the shade Fire Fit. So with this one, the formula was not my favorite. I thought the shimmer shades were okay, but the matte shades were too silky. They tended to just blend away on my eyes. They were too powdery. And the color story too, I felt like I have it in the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette and the ColourPop Yes Please palette. It's very similar to both of those, and I like the formulas of those better. So that was why this one was at the bottom of the list. Next up, we have the Milani Gilded Terra palette, and just like the Pop Beauty one, I basically have the same complaints with the formula. They actually reminded me of each other quite a bit. The Milani matte shades in particular are just so hard to work with for me. They're just too powdery. They blend away. They're hard to build up on your eyes, even though I thought that the shimmer shades in this palette were pretty decent and the color story was so gorgeous, and that's basically the only reason why this one is above the Pop one, because I love the colors, but unfortunately the formula for me was just really hard to work with. And then coming in at number 11, we have the Makeup Revolution Ultimate Nudes palette. So I did a eyeshadow palette dupes video, I think it was last Sunday, and these are basically very similar to the Huda Beauty Nude Obsessions palettes. They're not exact shade for shade dupes, but they're pretty close. And I just didn't think the formula was that great on these either. I thought it was okay. I did do a pretty decent eye look with the light one. I thought it came out okay, but I struggled with it. You know, I did have to build up the mattes. It just wasn't as pigmented as I would like, but at the same time, the mattes definitely gripped my skin a little bit better than the ones from the Milani or the Pop palettes. So that's why these are a little bit above those. And then at number 10, we have the Tarte Sugar Rush Star Chasers palette. So this one too had the same issue as the Milani and the Pop when it came to the matte shades. I just felt like they were too powdery and really didn't build upon themselves very well. But the shimmer shades in this palette were amazing. I really, really loved them, and I thought the color story was beautiful too, despite the fact that it kind of looked like kids makeup. And I did a whole video on this line, so if you want to check that out, I will link it above. But even though the color story did surprise me and I really ended up liking that, I just didn't think the formula was all there. And then at number 9, this might surprise some of you because the formula on it is stellar. It's so good. But the BH Cosmetics Lunar New Year palette, and the reason that this one is down this far on the list is not for the formula. I think, again, it's beautiful. It's just my personal preference when it comes to the color story. I felt like the reds and the yellows, I'm just not really as into wearing those colors. And also this has 5 pressed glitters and also pressed pigments, which can tend to stain your eyelids. So I really just wasn't crazy about those aspects of it. But again, I think the way that it performs is amazing. So, you know, I'll leave that up to you guys whether or not you are okay with all of those things. But for me, they were definitely more of a deal breaker. Then at number 8, we have the BH Cosmetics Lost in Los Angeles palette. And this one too is not this far down on the list because of the formula. I think it's beautiful, and actually was very surprised that More Pastel palette had such a great formula. I thought that it was just amazing, but I just don't reach for these colors all that much. I think maybe heading into the springtime, I'll pick it up a little bit more, but I'm usually more of a neutral person, so that's why basically this one is a little further down on the list as well. Actually, at this point, we're more like in the middle of the list. Everything from here on out, I liked. So then at number 7, we had the Buxom White Russian palette, and this one, I liked it. I thought the formula was great. I actually loved the eye look that I came up with in the video that I did, but I just kind of also felt like it was just a little bit boring. I didn't feel like there was quite enough that you could do with it. I felt like it was kind of limited in the looks that you could get, so that's why that one didn't move a little bit higher on the list. All right, so next up at number 6, we have the new Jason Wu eyeshadow palette in the shade Prickly Pear, and I just talked about this in my haul video this week as well, and this one really surprised me because when I initially swatched it on my hand, it didn't swatch that well, but also I had just put down the primer, which was a little bit drying, and when I went to swatch it on my arm, I actually liked it a lot better, and when I applied it to my eyes in the video, I was really surprised. I got such a gorgeous eye look with this, and the shadows performed a lot better than I was expecting them to. So I really enjoyed this palette a lot. I would say the only negative for me is that it doesn't have a lot of true matte shades. It has a lot of mattes with the little micro glitter, and I would have preferred if they were just regular matte shades. But overall, I thought it was a really pretty color story too. And then at number 5, we have the ColourPop Love Struck palette. So these were those little 5 pans that they came out with, and I thought these were really nice as well. One downside for me is that a lot of them had a pressed glitter in them, which I wasn't too crazy about. I really wish ColourPop would stop doing that. And when you have a palette that only has 5 shades and one of them is a pressed glitter, that's a big deal. You know, in a bigger palette, it's not always a deal breaker for me because if it's one shade, it's not the end of the world. But in a little 5 pan, I felt like they really should have just added another shimmer shade instead of something that is not eye safe. So that's why those are a little bit lower on the list, but I did really love the color stories, and I love that it's kind of a more affordable alternative to like the Natasha Denona 5 pan palettes. So I did do a whole video on them. I can link that above as well. And then coming in at number 4 is the Natasha Denona Mini Love palette. So I did wear this palette along with the rest of the collection in the 21 questions tag video that I did earlier last week, and I really thought the formula was good. In particular, I was impressed with that dark purple shadow because it wasn't patchy, and a lot of times really dark shadows, especially in the purple family, can be very patchy and not smooth, and I loved the way that that one performed. And just overall, it's such a cute little palette. If you never ended up buying the full-size Love palette, this is just a really cute little edited down version of that, so I thought it was great. And speaking of the Love palette, coming in at number 3 are the new Alter Ego Canyon and Blooms palette. The Blooms one being a dupe for the Natasha Denona full-size Love palette, and Canyon is a dupe for the Bronze palette. And Alter Ego always comes through with a great formula, and I personally like it better than Natasha Denona. I know some people will disagree with me on that, but seeing as how I'm not a makeup artist and I am not the most skilled at eyeshadow, I tend to like formulas that are just a little bit more sheer and less pigmented, and you know, that they don't overwhelm me and they're not as hard to blend. So I just love Alter Ego, and I was so excited that they came out with 2 palettes at the same time. And then in the number 2 spot, this actually isn't a palette, but it was something that really impressed me, and that's the Pop Beauty Flash Shadow in Crushed Copper. I talked about this in that video where I tried on the new Pop palette, and I was so impressed impressed with this liquid shadow. It's beautiful and it gives you the effect of glitter without actually putting a pressed glitter on your eyelid. It dried down so quickly. It just gave the most gorgeous sparkle to my eyes. It lasted the entire day without breaking up or creasing, and I just was so impressed by it. I would definitely pick up more colors. It's really, really affordable too. So that one really surprised me this month. And then in the number one spot, I'm gonna go with the ColourPop Off Melrose palette. And I know some of you will think that is so boring compared to a lot of the other palettes that I talked about, but these are just my colors. I'm wearing it today. I just love the mix of warm tones and cool tones in it. I just think it's one of those palettes you can just grab and use it no matter what you're wearing or what type of look you want. You can kind of get something that'll go with that because it's those wearable neutrals, but you also have both undertones going on and you also have a couple of pops of subtle color, which is nice too. So I just find myself reaching for it all the time. I did do a video though on a ton of different dupes for it, so it's not a unique palette by any means, but it's the one that I'm enjoying the most this month, so that's why it's sitting at number one. And then last but not least, I just have a couple of other notable things I wanted to talk about that weren't really in any of those categories. The first one being from the Jason Wu line, the brow pencil. That brow pencil has become my new favorite. The color is perfect. It's such a nice taupe with a more of a cool undertone. It's very ashy, like my natural brows are, and that's something that's just so hard to find in a brow pencil. And also, it's not a waxy formula. I find it very, very easy to draw on. It has the nice little micro tip to make the hair-like strokes. So overall, I really, really like that. Also, the Jason Wu eye primer. I used that again today. I used it in the video earlier this week when I did the haul, and I love how it just cancels out everything on my eyelids and it brightens up the whole eye area, but it dries down and it doesn't stay tacky, so you can put shadow over it so easily. And it also comes in, I think, 5 different colors on the Target website. So if your skin is not as light as mine and this is looking really, really bright to you, they do have other options as well. You can go a little bit deeper, but they also have one even lighter shade, I think, that's like a pure white. So yeah, definitely check out this primer. I think it's awesome. And then the last product is actually a skincare product that's just completely blown me away. It's from Doll 10 and it's called the Smooth Assist Overnight Facial. It has 11% acid blend, so you have glycolic and malic and lactic acids as your AHAs. You also have a BHA with salicylic acid, which gets deeper down into your pores. And when I first saw all the ingredients, I thought I was gonna not like this because lately my skin has become so sensitive, especially to acid treatments. And when I put like a glycolic toner on my face, usually it ends up burning and stinging and I have to remove it immediately. So when I saw like an 11% acid blend, I got really nervous, but I put it on anyway the first night and I didn't experience any irritation. So I figured, okay, I'll leave it on. And all throughout the night, my skin was fine. I didn't notice anything. And when I woke up in the morning, my skin was so baby soft and smooth. And so I've been using this on an every other night basis for the last 2 weeks. And my skin is just, it's so smooth and I feel like everything, all my makeup is going on so much nicer. I don't have all of the dry, flaky patches that I normally do this time of year. And it's been super cold, like in the single digits, the heat's been running nonstop, and yet my skin is just still keeping this really smooth surface. So I've just been beyond impressed with this treatment. Not only that it doesn't cause irritation, but also because of how quickly it worked. It was pretty much like an overnight result, but the more I keep using it, the better my skin is getting. So I love skincare products that you don't have to wait for to see results. And this is something that definitely, it was like overnight, my skin changed. So I highly recommend it. It is a little bit more on the pricey side. It's around $59, but I also have a coupon code with Doll10 to save 15%. So I will leave that linked down in the description box with the code in case you want to try this out, or if you're looking for a really good exfoliating treatment. This one is amazing. All right, guys, so that was a lot of products for 1 month, but at least now you know all of my favorites and things that I would definitely recommend to you guys, and also some of the things that didn't really work out. So I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below if you've tried any of these products and what your thoughts are on them. I always love hearing your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for spending time with me here on your Sunday. I always appreciate it. And again, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe subscribe button, especially if you like makeup reviews and eyeshadow palette comparisons. Those are the two things that I love to do here on my channel. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you all in my next one. Take care, guys. Bye.